I'll get everything set up, so be ready for the stream. It should be fun. I started a little bit early, that way everybody can get in and we can get some fun going. So, yeah, it probably will be somewhat of a short stream this time. I got something that's going on, so it won't be long, but it won't be as long as 5 hours. So let's keep that in mind for right now. As soon as it's 9 o'clock, that's when I start. Anyway, I've been wanting to do this kind of stream for quite some time. So hopefully this will be successful, unlike Twitch, because Twitch was not successful for Armored Warfare. What is up, guys? Yoshio here. I got you a Armored Warfare stream. Finally, we get to do this on YouTube, because usually I would do this on Twitch, but I'm not doing Twitch anymore. So this should be a good time. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. So let's go to my garage, which we're going to start right about now. And you get to see all the tanks I have currently. But first, we'll be starting a match with the T-72, which is Tier 4. So we're going to have fun with that. Alright, we're in the garage. Oh, I forgot to do this. Oops. Let me deal with this real quick. What all that is? It's so cool. If you're a PS Plus member, you get free stuff like this. It's so neat. Anyway. That's the wrong button. This is the T-72, my favorite tank at Tier 4. If you guys watched my video earlier about the stream announcement, this is the tank I'm going to use on the first part of the first game I'm going to play. Because it's my favorite tank. It's mobile, it has a really good gun, it has pretty good armor. It's really well balanced. If you look on to the left, it's the T-64A model 1969. Now if you look, it's a little bit shorter than the T-72. But it has more armor. It's about the same speed. And it's the same gun. They both have the 125mm gun. So it's pretty insane that they both have the same gun, but here's the crazy part. Okay, you want more mobility or you want more armor? So certain tanks will have that kind of thing. with that, we're gonna go right into the T-72. Get a match in. I typically do standard difficulty for most tanks, because if I do my tank reviews, it's more of a control. There are certain ones I will probably do a challenging difficulty in. So with that in mind, I do plan to revamp the T2R2 review, because that one in particular is not as good as the rest of them. Because the rest of them have all the same format, except for the first one was the T2R2, which was not that good. I mean, I could do better, so that one's gonna get improved. Also, another thing, I saw something while I was looking around at the PlayStation Store, and there is a Type 59-2 that I'm probably gonna get, and there will be a review for that. How cool is that gonna be? Because that's a Tier 3 premium, just like the IS-7, but it's a Type 59-2, and most tanks at Tier 3 have the 105mm gun. That's nuts. But the Type 59-2, I noticed, has the 100mm gun. Is it going to play a factor as the damage output? Probably. Because the Tech Tree tanks have 105mm guns, and the T-62 and the Tyrann 6 have the 115mm gun. The Type 59-2 would be the only tank that has the smallest gun at Tier 3. The biggest gun at Tier 3 would be the IS-7 with the 130mm gun. That's true. But then again, the IS-7 is a heavy tank. So, is the Type 59-2 going to do any better? Probably. Because, one, I know about the Type 59 itself, it's pretty mobile. It's pretty good as far as the mobility is concerned. The armor... the armor is left to be desired. But is it good enough? That's the real question. Is the armor good enough to handle any tier? Probably not. But we'll see. As you can tell, there's only 2 main battle tanks on the team. An M113, which is Tier 4. The BND-1, which is Tier 3, which is the armored fighting vehicle. And the M108, which is artillery. How I can tell is all the different symbols. And there's a diamond. And it's solid. It's a main battle tank. If it's diamond, but it's hollow in one spot, that's a light tank. If it's a triangle that points to the left, it's a tank destroyer. If it's a circle with nothing in the middle, it's a armored fighting vehicle. If it's shaped like a little bit of a house, that's the artillery. It's pretty cool how Armored Warfare did that. The T-72 is such a great tank, especially when it's maxed out like I have it. Now, the reason why I did party chat, and you'll see in the pop-up, is I don't want people to hear my voice, and people will get annoyed. So, that's why that's there.
I'm afraid the cartel has gotten their hands on the warehouse full of chemical warheads.
T-62 looks really cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's really cool. But I see a tank, and the tank's already dead because of the T-62. Nice work. I'll help him out. I take it out this T-92? What? How did it shatter? What is the tank right here? Hold on. I'm gonna do a blind shot. That missed. There's the tank right there, though. Fine, 41. Yeah. for new players, if you're gonna play this game, do not get the do not use the M41 because the M41 is garbage. The armor is terrible. The mobility's great, but it's an autoloader, so don't count on using that vehicle for almost anything. Because if you run out of those rounds in the magazine, it's gonna take you a while to reload. Like a long time. Wow, shattered at that angle? It shouldn't shatter. Now it's dead. That was dumb. Ooh.
Ammo up. Target destroyed.
Took minor damage there. Not a big deal. Another M41. VID was in the way. Is that a light tank? Yeah, it's over there. I see it.
Ammo up.
Black Company, the cartel is going to come after that warehouse. Hold on to that location.
Well, that vehicle's dead. Ooh, the BFD-1 is gonna die. And BMD-1's dead. All that for nothing. The TCD-2, however, is doing a really good job.
Identify targets. Hostile tank.
Easy. Ow.
Target destroyed.
Having penetration with no damage is actually very helpful.
Identify target. Hostile tank.
TCD-2 is doing a really good job. He might get a destroyer medal. But it's something very rare to get. Take destroyer. Oh, pop up. Wow! Not smart for that AI to do that. Yeah, he has 13 kills, 14 kills. If I get a destroyer medal. Or not. Ouch! Oh, that TCT better not die. That would not be good.
Ammo up.
They'll just stand there. You gotta keep moving. I'm gonna let that M113 handle that. Here's the thing though, if we cap, there's gonna be more enemies. And that will not be good for the TCT2. Oh god! That TCC2 is at perilously low health, so if he gets penetrated by anything, he's dead. He's got a destroyer medal, which is good, but he better not die. Keep getting more kills. Myself, I've gotten 5, which is not bad. Gotta help him out. Sergey Stacks did a really good job. He's from Russia, so not surprised. See, you can do well. It takes like the TCT2 on a tier 4 match. You just gotta be very careful. There we go.
Excellent work. Those chemical weapons won't be going anywhere anytime soon. The world's a little bit safer today.
That was not bad. I like the fact that the TCT2 got a destroyer medal, because those things are rare to get. They're not easy to get. If you saw my OF40 video, I've got a destroyer medal in that tank. And you know what? It'd be better if I show you the size of the tank, because holy crap, the armor on the OF40 is horrible. I mean horrible. Sometimes you don't want to rely on a tank's armor. It's sometimes really bad. I know from experience because I've actually got I got rocketed by a vehicle twice with an 140 and it just died very quickly. If the armor is that bad, it's so horrible. You'll see why in a minute. I know I did not make it top of the team, but I've already maxed out this thing, so yeah. Sergey got top of the team, which he deserves to be top of the team, because holy crap, he carried us, which is good for him, and I did more damage than the M108. That's embarrassing. Then again, that's artillery. Okay, for the OF40, I mentioned the OF40, so what's bad about the OF40? The armor. Obvious. Sure, it does have a good health pool, but the fact that the whole armor is the same as the level 1, maybe okay, but if you look at the turret armor, the turret armor in the front is 65 millimeters in the front. It's space steel. But it's not going to do any good. No, it's not going to do you any good. Because 65, if anything shoots at you, it's going to penetrate. Sure, it may be sloped, making it a little better. But in reality, it's not going to do you much. In fact, it's 35 on the side. 30 in the rear. If you look, the side of the turret is 35 millimeters. Sure, there's rounding. Well, look at it. What good is that gonna do? And 65 millimeters in the turret front. They're talking about the gauntlet. Sure, look at the angling. It could bounce a few shots, but don't count on it. It's not really that good. Also, if you see just one person, that's me. I'm watching this. I'm also watching the chat, just making sure I get super chats or something like that. So, it's okay if you are here and you see one person here. That's me. Making sure I moderate the chat as well. So, these are pretty much every single tank I own. And I own every single tank at tier 4. I own every single tank at tier 3. I'm talking about the tank tree, not all the premium tanks, because that would be crazy. So I will not be using this vehicle at all. It's I want to use that just for lulz, but it's a lot harder than you think. And yeah. So here is the Type 79, which actually does have the 105mm gun. The Terran 6, that has a 115mm gun. T-62, which has a 115mm gun. That's the vehicle we saw earlier. The N-60, which actually has a 105mm gun. And Leopard 1, which has a 105mm gun. Surprisingly, the Leopard 1 is actually better than the EOF-40. because the armor and the turret front is 90 millimeters in the front. As you look at this level 1, it's fully upgraded, and the turret armor is 90. So there's actually, in fact, double spaced armor. I'm serious. There's double spaced armor. The gun mantlet is also spaced armor. So they're pretty much taking the design of the zipper Pershing, which is pretty cool. I actually had 2 of these. This is when it first released, the LB 15090 Merc, which is actually when you first get the game, you get that vehicle. That's if you sign up. Which I did sign up, and I got this vehicle. I have not used it. And you get this vehicle if you have a PS Plus account. The IS-7. Personally, in my opinion, one of the best vehicles I've ever used at Tier 3. I had somebody comment on my IS-7 review about the IS-4. I did say that if it ever comes into the game as a premium tank, I will get it. There's a problem with that. It won't happen because, for one, the IS-7 has a 130mm gun, which actually it does want to key with. Armored Warfare makes sure that their tanks come with exactly the gun it comes with. The IS-4 would have the 122mm D25T gun. It will not do anything to any of the armor except for level 1 at Tier 3. So pretty much that tank, the IS-4, is practically useless. The IS-7, however, actually can handle Tier 3. Which is a bit crazy. So, the IS-7 stats are shown in the video, but holy crap. The armor is really good. The damage is 480. Now, it sounds about right for one of the tanks. The penetration is 250 millimeters. That's accurate. The damage per minute is 2,738. That's insanely good. For Tier 3, even if it's a heavy tank, that's pretty good. The reload time is 10.52 seconds. That's doable. You'll see why it's doable. The maximum speed is 60 kilometers an hour. It will not reach that top speed under its own power, but it will. The only way it'll work if it goes downhill. 0 to 32 kilometer rate is 10.19 seconds. Keep in mind, this is a heavy tank, so that's one thing you gotta consider. The whole traverse is 21.67 degrees, and the vehicle mass is 68,003 kilograms. That's really heavy. That's heavier than the level 1, like by a lot. The camouflage is 10% across the board. Meh. You don't need camouflage if you're in a heavy tank. The view range on the move is 385 meters, which not bad. The cannon temperature is minus 3 degrees down, which is terrible, and plus 3 degrees up, which is terrible. Again, that's terrible. The minimum spread is 0.170 degrees. The 80 time is 2.53 seconds. And the turn traverse is 27.23 degrees. Now, this thing is a slow machine. Like, literally, it is slow. So, the ammo is interesting. it only gets two: high explosive and armor piercing. What's the difference between these two? Well, it's actually kind of obvious because the high explosive has more stats to it than armor piercing. However, the one key difference about the high explosive is the stats between damage penetrating and the damage non-penetrating. It plays a factor. So let's say, for example, the high explosive, you can use that on any... It's pretty crazy. You can use that on any tank destroyer, or any, you can use that on any artillery. You could use that. Wow. You can't use that on main battle tanks. Yeah, you can't use that on main battle tanks because it will not do you any good unless you're going to get to level 1, then you shoot the sides and rear of the hull. That's the one thing I recommend with high explosive. The armor piercing. So anywhere you want on a main battle tank, you're good to go. The hull is actually rather good. The hit points is 2,400. Nice for the tier 3. The hull is 150 millimeters in front, 100 in sides and rear. Now the whole composition is steel. From tier 3, from tier 1 to only the American line at tier 6. It'll be steel. The turret is 250 millimeters in the front, 240 in the sides, 100 in the rear. Turret composition is steel. Now hold on a minute. 150 millimeters in the front in the hull. It's sloped and angled. You're looking at at least 200 millimeters of armor in the front hull, the way it's pointed. The only way you get 150 if it's angled like that. That is purely 150 millimeters. You can easily penetrate that with anything. Same thing on this side. Your lower plate is kind of vulnerable, but it's not good. However, your turret is different. 250 millimeters in front. This is where I say, don't let the numbers fool you. Because, sure, the thickness of the armor is 250, but the effective thickness says it differently. If you look, there is actually rounding sloping to this turret. You're looking at around 300 millimeters of turret armor in the front. 240 on the side. Rounding sloping. There is nothing you could do on the turret armor's front and side. You can do something for the rear, because it's slightly sloped and rounded, but not as good as the rest of it. But you shoot the rear of the turret, you will probably penetrate that easily. Here's the most crazy part about this tank. This tank, you can reliably bounce anything from the sides. It's the only tank in the game that can bounce reliably on the sides. The 100 millimeters of the side armor, sure, it's not much, but you can reliably bounce shots off the sides. This thing is well armored. And the fact is that the way it's designed, if you look at it, it's pretty interesting. You may be able to do well on this machine if you know how to use it. If I got a destroyer medal on this thing, not yet, I'm working on that. I mean, this one's the easiest one to get a destroyer medal in. The hardest one would be the OF-40, which I have already done. And the Leopard 1. The Leopard 1 and the OF-40 have a characteristic where the mobility is good, the gun is good, but the armor is terrible. The Americans, however, have something that's really interesting. They're pretty much the Joe average setting. So, Joe average armor, Joe average mobility, good to gun. The Russians are different. They tried to go for the low profile until you reach tier 10. That's a different story. So, as you can tell, the T-62 is shorter than the M60. But in my personal opinion, the M60 would beat the T-62. Here's what I mean. Sure, the T-62 could do damage to the M60, but it has 9 degrees. This tank has 9 degrees of gun depression. Yeah. So if this thing uses 9 degrees, look at the armor of this thing. At that angle, if I point the gun down, this armor would be flat. And you would be able to penetrate the front armor very easily. But the coolest, not my favorite, but the coolest tank I've ever seen is actually the Trans 6. Because it's a T-62. But what's neat about it is its history. This tank is the only tank that I got to research in. It's the only thing I had to research because I never knew about this tank. And what's neat about it is this is a true story. This is a captured Syrian tank from the Arab-Israeli wars. It is really cool. And the fact it has two M2 Brownie machine guns on it, which by itself is insane. I don't know how they were able to have the second M2 fire, but it's right in front of the gun where it would fire. Well, I can understand where the first M2 would be. That's understandable where that is. But the fact there's a second M2 makes it all worthwhile. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the history of the Trans 6. It's a medium tank. Production period is 1967. Into service is 1967. Operated by Israel and Lebanon. But I have a friend that's Lebanese, so he would probably be very excited about this. The Trans 6 is a modernized version of the Soviet T-62 with extra guns, explosive reactive armor, and some modern modules. This tank was a variation of Arab-Israeli conflicts between in 1970s and 1980s, which means, holy crap, in the 1970s, there was the Battle of the Golan Heights. T-62s were used in the Battle of the Golan Heights. I've known this because I watched a series called I used to watch a series called Greatest Tank Battles. If you want to know about tanks, that's really well done. And the history and the wars involving that, watch that. That's a good series. That's a good series. And there's actually series of that on YouTube. It's episodes that I recommend watching. Now let's go all the way down to Tier 2. The biggest gun at Tier 2 is the 105mm gun. And the Shock gauntlet, which is the actual pronunciation of it, it's actually a British Centurion. And what's really cool about this tank is this is actually a Lend-Lease vehicle from the British for the Israelis to use in their wars. And surprisingly, this vehicle is actually really good. The armor is not that good. The gun is actually insanely good. Because this thing can one-shot. Yeah. If the gun can one-shot, it actually could take out a T-62. It's actually been recorded that the Shock cows actually took out T-62s. And the one thing the Israelis were known for is long-range gunnery. So, pretty much, take out the enemy tanks before they got to you. And they were well known for that. And they had this stigma that Arabs can't fight. They were wrong in the Battle of the Golan Heights when they in the 1970s. They were wrong, and they owned up to it, which is good. At the same time, what was really cool about that is these were in play. And it's actually my favorite tank in Tier 2. Sure, the mobility's not that good, but at the same time, holy crap. You can do well in this machine if you know what you're doing. In fact, the cannon pressure is pretty good. 10 degrees of gun pressure is really good for any tank. Except for Russians. The Russians only got like 6 degrees at minimum. At least 6 degrees. Except for the ISO, which has 3. The M48-3 is the smallest gun at Tier 2. But it still held its own. It's pretty good. The only problem is, and this is true, it may have a faster reload, but the armor you don't want to rely on too much. Sure, it's boat shaped, but at the same time, you want to keep your front towards them at all times. You don't want to angle. Because as soon as you angle, they're going to shoot you in the side. So, you probably can go hold down with this machine, but, do you want to do that? You could. But you have 9 degrees of gun depression plus 4 degrees of gun elevation, which I don't find correct. Because I'm pretty sure it can elevate more than that. So, hopefully, another thing is now we'll go into Tier 1 territory. And I actually own this. I own the PC-76. You can only get this if you were around during launch. And this was the tank that was in during launch and before the Israeli tank update, because when the Israeli update came in, this replaced it. the PT-85. I mean, is it good? It can be. But the PT-76 was used in the Vietnam War. In fact, the PT-76 would also go against the M60A3, M40A3, and holy crap, this tank could. What's surprising is it could the PT-76 could penetrate the M48. At least we believe that, but the M48 can actually easily penetrate the PT-76. So there's that. My favorite tank of Tier 1 is the Type 62. It's the biggest gun at Tier 1, along with the PT-85. That PT-85 came later, but at launch, the Type 62 was the best tank. Because the M50 didn't show up until the Israeli update came in. So, what's really cool about this tank is the reload on this thing is pretty good. The armor on this thing is terrible. The mobility on this thing is really good. And the turret rotation is really good. So what you can do on this machine is actually pretty incredible. So, we're going on to the M50. Now, the M50 is a Sherman tank. So, keep in mind when you use this machine. Because you don't want to get out in the open for this machine. Because the armor on this thing is a Sherman's hull and the Sherman turret. So don't get caught out in the open with this machine. Because that would be terrible. This thing is more designed for long-range gunnery. Because it's a 75mm gun. You don't want to be brought with this machine. I'll show you why. The hull is 50mm at the front, 30 at the sides, 30 at the rear. Hull composition is steel. The turret is 76mm at the front, 50 at the sides, 50 at the rear. The turret composition is steel. It's pretty much a standard Sherman tank. Would you brawl this machine? Don't do that. That's not what this tank is designed for. This gun is so long, you could actually easily shoot at long ranges and not have to worry about taking damage. That's what it's designed for. Anyway, I'm gonna go AFK real quick. I'll be right back. Alright. So this game is not as popular, but it's actually one of the games I enjoy. So this is actually a game that I discovered when I was on Facebook. And they said they were gonna launch a PS4 version. I'm like, cool, because I had just got the PS4 at the time, and this game was gonna come out at a specific date, so I signed up for that, and I good thing I did because this game was fun. Too bad they don't update this game anymore, which they should. I mean, Warface is a thing, but I could probably play Warface and do fine. But at the same time, look at all the tanks I have. I mean, what's good about this? There's a lot you can do in this game. There's one, you get to gain. I got quite a few friends for this game. It's one of the few games that I'll probably play for the future. Now, later on, I'll probably stream a different game. Doesn't matter what game. Well, maybe. I'll probably stream PlanetSide 2. Because PlanetSide 2 is quite fun. All these tanks I own. And every single tank that's in this garage actually has its own unique characteristics. I've known this for quite some time. Especially the M60A3. The M60A3 is the newest Tier 5 tank I own. It's not really that good. It's more meh. The only difference is the gun. That's it. The rest is the same. So the armor is the same, the ERA is the same, the mobility is the same, it's just the gun. The gun is that's all there is. It's just the gun. The only thing with the T-72A, it's all the same, but they've added explosive reactive armor. And they place it anywhere they could. It is such a good tank. In fact, this tank it's in Black Ops Cold War. It's a T-72A. Now, unfortunately, this stream was not successful, but I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try a separate stream today, and we're gonna do something different. Hopefully, this is more successful.